Hey everybody, Mystery Man here for you. um, so you're probably wondering why I look like a kind of a stalker killer psycho, I guess, that's about to run into a liquor store, commit a huge felony and then ski my way down the Alps to get away. Well, to be perfectly honest, the only reason I'm wearing this getup is that, like most of you, if not all of you, I have a good job that I like. And sadly, we live in an age now or a time now where you can't really express yourself without getting judged or without being hurt in some way, whether it's emotionally, financially, professionally, or whatever, you and maybe your family. So I wanted to just hide my identity because I'm going to be saying some things that could be considered controversial on this channel, and I don't want it to affect me in any way. So, in my opinion, that's the day we live in now where, of course, you can't say whatever you want. You can't say horrible things, but you can't even say certain things that people disagree with without being, I don't know, without getting in trouble or without it affecting you. So that's why I look ridiculous, is just trying to protect myself, in every way possible. But I also wanted to express myself and not have to worry about anything bad happening to me just for having an opinion that would be considered controversial, but also not overly offensive in any way. So I just want to start off by doing my first video and talking about something that I'm passionate about that you could consider is something I don't know if the right phrase is hold close to my heart. But the first thing is wearing masks during this pandemic. This has probably been beaten to death, but for some reason, people don't seem to get it. Now, I will say that I live in a state where it is required by law to wear a mask. I think anytime you're within 6 feet of a person, but it is required anytime you go into a public space. I'm pretty sure that you wear a mask, whether you go to pick up food, you go to the grocery store, anywhere where people might be gathering, you have to wear a mask. And I don't know how I feel per se about the states that, first of all, I personally believe that it should be required by all states that people should have to wear masks wherever they go. Because, well, at least in terms of, I guess, I don't know. I'm not going to go there. Basically, in places where they are requiring you to wear masks, that usually is where they have the highest, if not some of the high amount of COVID cases. That's why they're doing that. So basically, this video is to tell people you should wear your masks. Now, first off, I want to say is that, a lot of people are saying I shouldn't have to wear a mask. It's my American right that I don't need to wear a mask. Well, you might be right in that, who knows? It's a slippery slope, but basically, it's not. The whole point of it is it's not hard to wear a mask. That's the whole huge difference in this, is that even though it supposedly might be your American right to not wear a mask, what does it hurt to wear a mask for what? 15, 30 minutes, an hour at the most when you go shopping or whatever? I can say that for a person who is in a state that requires you to wear a mask for some time now, I've worn masks for many hours at a time, and yes, it sucks and it's horrible, but it's not that big of a deal. I didn't die. It was just a mild / overly mild discomfort. It's not something that is huge, and it's not going to affect your life or even affect your day per se. So I just want to start off by saying that one reason this is personal to me is that I can almost guarantee that most, if not all, people who are so nonchalant about wearing masks, is that I could almost guarantee that almost all of them, if not all of them, have not gotten COVID and or they have not gone into quarantine. I'm speaking about this from someone who went into quarantine. Thank God I did not have COVID. But I did have to go into quarantine because I came in close contact with someone who got COVID. And I would say that after being in quarantine, that is something that I would not wish on my worst enemy. It was horrible. Thank God I didn't even have COVID, and just being in quarantine was awful. For 2 weeks, I couldn't see anybody. I didn't want to go outside because I was worried I had COVID. And unlike people who don't wear masks, it seems as if they don't care. I would personally feel horrible if I gave someone COVID. I mean, everybody knows that this virus affects people in different ways. So if I was responsible for someone having permanent damage in their lungs or what have you, or dying even. If I was responsible for that, I don't, my life, it would be horrible. I mean, how could I live with myself? Of course I would push on and do it, but my life would be changed forever. I mean, so that's what I don't get. That's why I don't understand why it is so difficult for most of these people to wear masks. And I will say that I've seen a lot of this. Excuse me. I've been to, let's see, I've been in 3 different states since this pandemic started and since the masks were asked of people. And I gotta say, in the states I've been in, I don't want to say the states because I don't want to offend people, but in the states I've been in, if people really want to know, in the next video I'll say, but in the states I've been in, people don't seem to care too much. At least, I would say at least 25% of the people don't seem to care too much about wearing masks. And it's just messed up because, first of all, this is coming from a guy who is wearing a mask and glasses. You don't think this is uncomfortable? This is incredibly uncomfortable. I got sweat coming up into my glasses, and you don't think this is itchy and I'm hot in here? It's extremely uncomfortable. And this is way worse comparing just to wearing a face mask over my face. So, and I'm happy in the next video if people want, just to prove that it's not hard, it's not difficult to wear a mask. My next video, I can do my next video and talk for at least an hour with a mask on. It doesn't make any difference. It's not that big a deal. So I just want to start off with my first video by saying that people should wear a mask. There's so many reasons. The first thing is that well, I've already said, but one of the many reasons is that I'm sure a lot of people say, oh, well, I feel great, I'm not sick or whatever. It's just common sense at this point. Everyone knows that the virus, you are completely contagious when you are asymptomatic. I could have COVID, you could have COVID, anybody we know could have COVID and they may not know it. That's the whole ridiculous thing about people not wearing masks. Literally anybody could have this virus and they could be potentially spreading it around to all of these people when they're not wearing a mask. And I'm not saying that you should wear a mask all the time. I'm not saying you shouldn't see your friends, you shouldn't see your family. I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is that when you are around people who are wearing masks, or you walk into a place that's requiring masks, I mean, yeah, just to walk into a place that is requiring masks and not to wear a mask is so messed up in my opinion. It is so selfish. I don't want to really say what I'm trying to be, a little bit mature about this, and I don't want to sink down to a low level and say what I really think about these people, but I just want to say that it's selfish not to wear a mask. I know it's kind of extreme, but you could say that when you don't wear a mask, you could be potentially killing somebody. It's true. That's why we're forcing people to wear a mask. If you don't wear a mask, you could be potentially killing someone. You could have asymptomatic symptoms of COVID. You could have COVID and you would pass it on to someone by not wearing a mask. I don't know why people don't seem to get that or they don't seem to care, but it's really horrible. I mean, and the people that wear their masks and then they do it with just covering the mouth, but they still have the nose out, that is so ridiculous in my opinion. That, there's a great meme out there. I'll probably post it on my Instagram page. It's, I don't know if I should say it, but it's just, there's a great meme out there that shows wearing your mask with your nose out is basically like wearing your underwear with you-know-what out. So it's kind of, it's just, it's ridiculous. It's almost it's insulting. I mean, it's almost as bad, it's not as bad, but it's almost as bad as not wearing a mask. And then the people, you see them in the store or whatever, and they come in and they got the mask on, but they just have it around their ears and they have it under their chin. Give me a break. It's so insulting. There's so many things I want to, more to say. I thought I'd start this video off. I want to do it from the heart, and I don't want to have notes and have to memorize a bunch of stuff. I wanted to just speak freely. And, basically right now, I hate to say it, but I don't know what other countries are like, but right now, I gotta be honest, I'm ashamed to be an American. I'm not saying I don't want to live in America. I'm not proud. I'm just saying right now, I'm ashamed to be an American. These Americans, a lot of these Americans, I'm not saying it's the majority, but a lot of these people, it's enough to really feel it. It's very sad and embarrassing that people can't just wear a mask. I'm sorry. I'll probably quit. I'll quit repeating it if you guys want me to, or if you all want me to. But it's so simple. It's a piece of fabric over your face for 15 minutes to an hour. I've been on, let's see, I flew almost over halfway across the country, I would say, and I was on a flight for I think 2 hour, about 3 hours, and I wore my mask the entire time. So I can say this: I've been there. It's uncomfortable, but unlike it seems like a lot of these people, I don't want to be responsible for someone being sick or dying. So I mean, just wear the mask. It's just I don't get it. I mean, if you've done your research on this virus, you'll see that it's not just. I mean, if you're gonna have that whole selfish mentality, you're gonna see it's not just affecting it's affecting everybody. I mean, but if you say that it's not just affecting everybody, and that's why you're not wearing a mask, that survival of the fittest or whatever. Not necessarily. I don't know if you saw, there was an actress in LA. She's, I think, 34 or 38. She looked very fit, and she got COVID, and she said that she has lost 70% of her smell. I think she said it's been a month or two, and she's still recovering from getting COVID. And she said she's not even sure if she'll get back all of her smell. If I gave that to somebody from not wearing a mask, I would feel absolutely horrible. My life would never be the same, probably, to be honest. If you know that you affected your life, if you affected someone's life like that just because you didn't want to wear a piece of cloth over your face. And she said the reason why she got that is she's pretty sure she went out into public and she wasn't wearing a mask. So there's also an actor, I don't know if you heard of him, Broadway actor, I can't remember his name. He was 44, I believe. He lost his leg due to COVID. He went into a coma. And I think it was 3 months after being in the coma, he died. He had a wife and he had kids. And this was all because of COVID. I'm not saying this is because of someone not wearing a mask, but you don't want to be that person who's responsible for someone going through that because you didn't want to wear a mask. So there's also an officer, I think it was a police officer in New York. He was, I think, in his 50s. He lost his arm because he got COVID. Now, I know there's all this speculation about you can't prove that all these things happened to them because they got COVID. Well, you also can't disprove it. So I don't get it. I mean, it's so selfish, and I can speak from experience. Like I said, I'll just say it again. I've worn masks for hours at a time. I would say I've worn masks for 3 to 4 hours at a time. And think of all these incredible people, all these incredible nurses and doctors, and all of these amazing people in the medical field. They're wearing their masks all day, and you don't see them complaining, do you? I mean, no, they're not. And they're getting paid for it, of course, but still they have to wear their masks all the time, and they're not complaining. They're just doing it, and it's so simple. So, and like I said, I was in quarantine, and it was horrible. I have a roommate, and whenever he was home, I couldn't leave my room, and if I did, I had to wear a mask. I don't have a TV in my room, so if I wanted to watch TV, I had to watch it with my mask on. Whenever I wanted to eat, I had to take my food upstairs and eat in my room because I didn't want to, get my spores out into the kitchen that he might be walking into. I wore my mask when he wasn't at home during the day, but if he had work and he was coming home, 3 hours before he came home, I had to put my mask on if I was going to be downstairs because the spores, the COVID spores, they live in the air, they say, for up to 3 hours. It was horrible. I had to, I was basically confined to my room. I had to eat in my room. I could have done stuff outside my room, but I'd have to wear a mask all the time, which is fine. I would have done it, but like I've said, it is uncomfortable, but I still do it. But yeah, just giving someone COVID is horrible. Just having someone be in quarantine because of you, I don't want to live with that. So, I put this video out there because I'm hoping maybe I can change someone's mind. I'm trying to be mature about this, so, I'm not trying to insult people, but I'm just trying to give people the real facts of this. One thing I want to be on this channel is I want to be completely 100% honest always. And I want to make this video because maybe I could sway some people who don't wear a mask, and it's just, I've been around so many people on the flights I've been on, and you see people not, excuse me, you're on a flight, Southwest, I flew on I think it's been all Southwest since this pandemic when I've had to go on flights, and I've been on a flight, and they say before the flight, during the flight, and they call people out, they say, please wear your mask 100% of the time, the whole time during this flight. Do not remove it, only when you're drinking water or eating. Otherwise, please wear your mask. And you have people get on the flight, these are parents too with their kids, and they'll take their mask off the second they get on the flight, and they'll just have it wrapped around their ears, and they'll just have it under the chin, and they have their mouth and their nose out. It's like, come on. And if we don't know enough about this virus, I don't think, obviously, since we all have to wear a mask, we don't know enough about this virus. You could potentially say that one person, if they had COVID, you could potentially say they would infect the whole airplane with COVID by not wearing their mask. And then those people get off the plane, they get on another plane, they infect all these other people, possibly. They infect all these other people when they get off the plane, they meet their family and friends or whatever, all because of this one person. And I don't know if people seem to connect the dots like that. If you infect one person that, especially if they don't know they're infected, because a lot of this disease is asymptomatic, they could be infecting all these other people, they don't know they're infected, they infect all these other people, and, you know, a lot of these people won't be wearing masks, they'll infect more people. So it's just, it's horrible. I mean, it's such a simple thing, and it's, if you don't want to do it because you think it's your American right not to wear a mask, you know, you have the right to your opinion, but why don't you just do it out of respect for others? It's a lot of people obviously agree with me, because that's why, you know, it's required by law, and people get very upset about this. But it's just, it's complete disrespect. Please just wear your mask. Wear it completely over your face. Cover your nose. Cover your mouth. I can speak from this. I'll do my next video. If you guys want, if you all want, I'll do my next video. I'll wear all this and I'll wear a mask just to prove that you can do this. It's not an impossible task. It's something so simple. And, you know, people have been saying this. This wonderful black guy, I don't know who it was, but he came out, I saw it like a month or two ago. He said, I don't understand people. Who are these people? If I wear my mask, I could be potentially saving a bunch of lives and preventing people from dying. Not just getting sick, but dying. That's what happens when you wear a mask. You are preventing death. When you don't wear a mask, you could be inflicting death. You don't know. You don't know if you get you don't know if you have COVID, and you don't know how many people you got sick from not wearing a mask. You'll never know. You could have COVID and not know it, and you would infect all these people because you didn't wear a mask, and all these people could die or lose their arms or limbs or whatever because you didn't wear a mask. It's just so messed up. And don't even get me started on the people that, even before the pandemic, people who would sneeze and cough without covering their mouths. That is just so beyond inhuman, in my opinion. It's so disrespectful, horrible, but to do it during a pandemic is so, it's unbelievable. It's literally, it's unfathomable almost that people could be that selfish, that we are in a pandemic and you are coughing and sneezing without covering your mouth. I get upset when people are wearing a mask and they don't cover their mouth when they cough or sneeze. I think it's proper and courteous to cover your mouth, even with a mask on, when you cough and sneeze. So I'm sorry, I shouldn't be yelling. I also want to speak clearly so that way you can hear me, but I'm sorry, I shouldn't be yelling. But I think I've said all I wanted to on this topic. It's just, even if you're not required to, first of all, if you're required to wear a mask, you should wear one. It's just that people take it very personally. I'm one of them. I'm speaking from someone who was actually in quarantine. I didn't even have COVID, and I was in quarantine. And it's horrible. I wouldn't wish quarantine on my worst enemy. It's a horrible thing. You're locked up. You're completely isolated. You can't be around people. You can't even go out. You can go outside, I think. No, I'm pretty sure in quarantine you're not allowed to go outside. I'm sorry. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I didn't go outside because if I got someone infected with COVID from going outside, I would feel awful. So yeah, it's just, I would not wish quarantine on my worst enemy. And who knows how many people you're putting in quarantine or completely at health risk or putting their lives at risk by not wearing a mask. And it's just, it's very sad to see all these people who, even when law requires it, even when people are asking politely, they don't want to wear a mask. And it's just, that's part of the reason why I want to do this video. It's just, please, I'm begging you, please wear your mask. It's just, if everyone wore their mask when they were supposed to, who knows how fast we could get rid of this virus. Who knows? But since people want to go out and party and do all that, I don't want to speak to that. But it's just one thing that just bugged me that I wanted to bring up on this channel is that, or on this video, is that if you're required to wear a mask, please wear one and wear it completely over your face. And if you're around someone who's wearing a mask, obviously they're not comfortable, so please wear a mask for them. It's generous and it's not that hard. It's a simple thing to do. Just please wear a mask. I'm begging you. Please wear it, and please wear it to completely cover your face. I think that's about all I have to say on this. To be honest, I don't know if you let me know if it's too harsh, but I'm ashamed of being American right now. It's just all these people aren't wearing masks. They don't care, and we're the best country on earth, and we shouldn't be acting like this. We should be inspiring people, and other countries look to us for help and guidance and inspiration, and we're not showing that right now, in my opinion. We're not being very admirable. If you look around, I think you could make the argument that possibly at least half, if not a quarter of these cases, that's just spitballing, but I think you could make the argument that a quarter to half of these cases are just because people weren't wearing masks. At least 10% to 25%, I bet, are from people not wearing masks when they were supposed to be wearing masks. Of course, that's all. Who knows if that's true? But it's just so simple. I mean, it's just so disrespectful. And just please wear a mask. You don't want to go in quarantine like me, and you don't want to put others in that position. Believe me, it's a sad, messed up place to be. And I didn't even have COVID. Imagine being in quarantine and having COVID and having to do all those precautions and stay inside and also be sick and not be healthy and be in pain and possibly have to go to the hospital. It's a sad, horrible thing. And you don't want to put your family through that either. Trust me. I hung out with my family before I was in quarantine. And I was in quarantine, and they were worried they had COVID, and they were in quarantine supposedly. And trust me, those COVID tests, they are not pain-free. Those hurt. They had to do the one where they stick the Q-tip all the way up your nostril, and it hurts. It's not, it's not painless. It's very uncomfortable, and it's not a fun process stressing about whether or not you have COVID. And a lot of these people, we don't know. 10 years from now, they could be still permanently affected. Who knows? It could be one of those things where you're affected and you get over it, but then 2 years later it comes up again because it's just a virus that stayed. Who knows? I'm just saying, I think that's all I wanted to say on the topic. I just wanted to kind of get my feelings out on this, and who knows, maybe I can make a difference in just one or two people, if they start wearing a mask, it's one person can make a difference. So just wear a mask, please. I'm sorry if I'm rambling. I just want to make sure I touched on everything I wanted to speak about. But it's wear a mask, and you don't want to be responsible for someone being sick. Luckily I wasn't, as far as I know, but even just thinking about it, it's a horrible feeling knowing that you're responsible for someone being sick or dying or having permanent damage. You don't want that on your conscience and something that's in the back of your mind for the rest of your life. So if you're out somewhere and people wearing masks, no one's going to judge you. No one's going to think you're a freak for wearing a mask during this time. And especially if it's a place where it's required, wear a mask. And if other people are wearing masks, especially if you have to get close with people, please wear a mask. I've done a lot of work with people face-to-face and close-up, and they aren't wearing masks, and it's so insulting, and it's worrisome, and it's stressful, thinking that they might have something that they're giving me. And, I've called people out a couple of times, and they're not happy when I tell them to put on masks. And I'm not saying that you should confront people when they're not wearing masks because you don't want to start a fight or whatever. I'm not saying you should confront people. I'm saying lead by example. I don't think you should confront anyone who's not wearing a mask. That's part of the reason why I'm posting this video, is to hopefully inspire these people who aren't wearing masks to wear them. But it's just a sad thing. You don't want to put people through that stress and that worry from not wearing a mask, do you? A lot of people probably say, I don't care, you're overthinking it. But look, we're in a pandemic. We're in a worldwide, virus-filled, huge, troublesome environment or whatever. This is affecting the whole world. Please, be the difference. Wear a mask. It's just, I'm sorry for rambling, but I guess that's all I want to say on the topic. But you don't want to be responsible for anybody having trouble in their life. So it's a simple thing. In my next video, if people request it, I'll do all this and I'll wear a mask. It's not that hard. I just spoke for 10 to 15 minutes with all this on. My face is hot. I'm sweating through my glasses. I'm uncomfortable, but you know what? I'm doing it. Just wear a mask, please. It's something simple, and you could potentially save a life from doing it. So please, wear a mask. Be courteous to others. and just do what's asked or required of you. It never hurts to put a mask on. If you're thinking, hey, should I wear a mask? If you even have to think that, just put one on. Let's be safe. Let's get rid of this virus, and let's come together and be nice to each other and be kind to each other and be respectful. Wear your mask. Let's come together and let's respect everybody's wishes during a pandemic, and let's get rid of this virus together. So, for the 2 people listening, I appreciate it, and hopefully you guys wear your mask when you go out, and thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it, and till next time, thank you.